The Krell had rules. Strict ones. Aboard their prison transport Vex Thora, rations were calculated down to the molecule. Each species received exactly what their biology required to survive. Nothing more, nothing less. It was efficient, clinical, perfect, except when it came to humans. The Krell High Examiner, Zarkith, studied the female human through the observation port. Sophia. That was the designation on her file. She had been captured during a raid on a human colony ship, charged with smuggling restricted biotechnology. Her sentence, transportation to the labor mines of Chavar Prime. Subject shows remarkable resilience, Zarkith noted into his recorder. Day 47 of reduced caloric intake. Still conscious, still defiant. They had been cutting her rations systematically, testing human endurance limits. The Krell were nothing if not thorough in their research. Each species that passed through their prison system was documented, catalogued, and studied. Humans were the newest addition to the galactic community, and therefore the most fascinating. Sophia sat in her cell, her frame noticeably thinner than when she'd arrived. Her dark hair hung limp around her face, but her eyes, those strange predatory human eyes, still burned with something the Krell couldn't quite classify. Was it rage? Determination? Hope? What puzzled Zarkith most was the child. Meteo was the boy's name. Another human, young by their species standards, perhaps 12 cycles old. He'd been caught during the same raid, listed as Sophia's ward. The curious thing was that while Sophia's rations had been reduced to starvation levels, the boy's had remained standard. Yet the boy was wasting away faster than the woman. Impossible, Zarkith muttered, checking the feeding logs again. Meteo received his full allotment every cycle. The automated systems were incapable of error. Yet the scans showed severe malnutrition. His small frame grew more skeletal by the day, his skin pale and drawn. Meanwhile, Sophia, who should have been dead by now, remained functional. Weak certainly, but alive. Too alive. It was the janitor droid that caught it first. The mechanical unit, performing its nightly rounds, recorded an anomaly in cell block 7. The footage showed Sophia's cell at feeding time. The automated tray slid through the slot with her meager portion, barely 400 calories of nutrient paste. She stared at it for a long moment, her hands trembling. Then she didn't eat it. Instead, she waited until the guards passed. Her cell shared a ventilation duct with Meteo's, a design flaw the architects had dismissed as irrelevant. The gaps were too small for escape, too narrow for weapons, but not too small for food. Sophia broke her paste into smaller portions, wrapping each carefully in scraps of fabric from her uniform. She reached up to the vent, her weakened arms shaking with effort, and pushed the packets through. On the other side, Meteo's thin fingers retrieved them. She was giving him her food. All of it. When Zarkith reviewed the footage, his mandibles clicked in confusion. Why? He demanded of no one in particular. The child is not her offspring. Genetic scans confirm no blood relation. Why sacrifice herself? His assistant, a younger Krell named Thex, tilted his head. Perhaps it is a human bonding ritual? Some species form pack structures beyond genetic ties. But to starve oneself? Where is the evolutionary advantage? Where is the logic? They continued watching. Night after night, the same ritual. Sophia grew weaker, her movements slower. Sometimes she would collapse after passing the food through, lying on the cold floor for hours before rising again. Yet she never kept the food for herself. Not once. The medical scanners showed her body consuming itself, muscle tissue breaking down, organs operating at minimal capacity. By all Krell calculations, she should have been dead, but humans, they were learning, didn't follow Krell calculations. On day 63, Meteo stopped taking the food. Sophia pushed the packet through as usual, but the boy pushed it back. Through the vent, his voice came thin but firm. No more. Soph, please, I can't watch you die. Take it, Meteo. Her voice was barely a whisper. Each word an effort. No, that's an order. I don't follow orders anymore. There was a pause, then. Why are you doing this? Sophia closed her eyes, her back against the wall beneath the vent. When she spoke, her words carried the weight of something ancient, something the Krell would never understand. Because someone has to make it home. Someone has to tell them what happened here, and you're faster, smarter, younger. You have a better chance. I won't leave you. You won't have a choice. She smiled, though Mateo couldn't see it. When the transport docks at HFY Prime, there will be chaos during the transfer. I've been watching the patterns. In that chaos, a small, clever boy might slip away. Find the human embassy, tell them everything. And you? I'll buy you time. Zarkith, watching this exchange through the monitors, felt something he'd never experienced before. A creeping unease. There was something in the human female's voice. A certainty that transcended survival instinct. She had already accepted her death. More than that, she had weaponized it. That night, he increased her rations. The order came through the automated system. Restore Sophia's feeding allotment to standard levels. Effective immediately. When the tray arrived with a full portion, Sophia stared at it in confusion. Then understanding dawned, and with it, a smile that made Zarkith's blood run cold through the monitor. She ate it, every last molecule, and when her strength returned enough, she began to plan. The Krell thought they understood sacrifice, the calculated risk, the tactical loss for strategic gain. But watching Sophia, watching the way she had been willing to erase herself entirely for a child not her own, they realized they understood nothing about humans at all. Because humans didn't sacrifice for logic. They sacrificed for love, and that made them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. When the Vex Thora docked at HFY Prime 3 weeks later, the Krell discovered exactly how dangerous. In the chaos of the transfer, a small human boy vanished into the station's depths, and a woman, malnourished, weak but burning with purpose, caused enough disruption that by the time the guards contained her, Mateo was long gone. By the time the human fleet arrived at HFY Prime 6 months later, Mateo had already told them everything. About the starvation, about the experiments, about Sophia, about how humanity protects its cubs even unto death. The Krell finally understood the meaning behind human defiance. But by then it was far too late. Humanity had learned they were being starved. Now it was humanity's turn to feed.